Happy New Year everybody and welcome to BeatleDave's Beatles channel. Today's video I will be showing some Paul McCartney UK 45s, so please come and join me. So hello and welcome again to another edition of BeatleDave's Beatles channel. I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas and that you got plenty of Beatles related goodies. And of course, thanks again for joining me again today on the channel. So today's first video of 2023, I'm going to be showing you guys Paul McCartney's UK 45s from 1971 to 1975, which covers the first half of the 70s up to his Venus and Mars 45s. Also, once again, just like John's 45s I showed from the same period, none of the singles ever made it to #1 in the UK, and again, I really find that just astounding. But don't forget though, I will be covering both George and Ringo's UK 45s in due course when time permits. So anyway, that will be coming up very, very shortly, but before then though, it's time for something a little bit different. It's Ask BeatleDave, yeah! Yes, welcome to Ask BeatleDave, where I'll be answering your questions that you have about anything Beatles related, on perhaps about anything to do with the guys' solo careers, or to do with the films, just about anything you want to ask me, and I'll endeavour to answer it right here. So today's question then is from Dave King. Hiya Dave, how you doing my friend? Hope you're fine and dandy. And Dave asks, BeatleDave, do you have a favourite solo single from each of the guys? Okay then, that's a pretty good question actually, and it's quite straightforward really. So starting with John, of course, it has to be, my favourite song has to be Number 9 Dream. Absolutely love that single and it's just a brilliant song. I mean, a more harder choice for me is actually one of Paul's singles because he's released so many. But I think my choice is going to have to be Take It Away. You know, I just love that song, and of course it features Ringo on drums too. So on to George then, and once again it's quite a difficult choice from so many of his fabulous songs, but actually I think when it comes down to it, I think my favourite one has to be This Guitar. I mean, I just love that song, and it's also a follow-on from obviously While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Finally on to Ringo then, and he had a good succession of some really great 45s, and for me it's got to be the first UK 45 released by Ringo, It Don't Come Easy, and it's kind of like one of Ringo's trademark tracks really. So Dave, my friend, I really hope that answers your question for you. And guys, if you want to contribute to Ask BeatleDave, just send me a question in the comments and I'll include it in a future episode. It's that simple. So come on guys, please me by getting involved and ask me some super questions. So moving on now then, of course, it's time for I Call Your Name. So yes, we've moved on to them old shout-outs, and it's a great big BeatleDave hello to Gerard McMullen, hiya Gerard, Beatleman69, Aretha Franklin Whitney Houston, hiya Sarah, Lucas, Be a Good Dogger, hiya Scott, M, Sean D67, Charlie Maguire, and Trevor Dixon. So that's a great big hi to you guys from yours truly, BeatleDave. So on to the main event then today guys, and I present to you a collection of Paul McCartney's UK 45s from 1971 to 1975. So please come and join me. In February 1971, 10 months after the release of his first solo album and after the Beatles' breakup, Paul McCartney released his first solo single, Another Day, credited to Mr. and Mrs. McCartney, which reached the UK #2 spot. Almost as an afterthought, his second single release, The Backseat of My Car from the Ram LP, only reached number 39 in the UK charts. But in 1972, with his new band Wings, the three singles Give Ireland Back to the Irish, MaryHad a Little Lamb and Hi 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 reached number 16, number 9 and number 5 respectively, even though two of these 45s were banned from broadcast by the BBC. With the cancelled single release of Love Is Strange from the moderately successful LP Wildlife, Wings were now in full flight, and in 1973 the classic McCartney ballad My Love was released, preceding the album Red Rose Speedway. After being asked to record the new James Bond theme for the Live and Let Die film, Wings planned to record their new album in Lagos. However, the band landed in Lagos as a trio, with Denny Sywell and Henry McCulloch quitting just before the band left the UK. The first release from the Lagos sessions was the single release of Helen Wheels, which reached a respectable number 12 in the UK, with this single preceding the Band on the Run LP, although the song was added to the USA album running order. Originally, McCartney didn't want to release any singles from the Band on the Run LP. However, though, he was convinced by Capitol Records Vice President Al Corey to release some singles, the first one being Jet in February 1974 reaching number 7, and then the title track in June reaching number 3. Now with new Wings members Jimmy McCulloch and Jeff Britton on board, the single Junior's Farm was released in October 1974, peaking at number 16, with at one point the B-side, Sally G, becoming the A-side. With another change of Wings drummer to Joe English, the next album, Venus and Mars, eventually spawned 3 singles, with Listen to What the Man Said reaching number 6, the follow-up Letting Go only number 41, and the heavily edited final single, Venus and Mars Rockshow, not even making a dent on the UK charts. So let's take a look. So here is then the Paul McCartney singles 1971 to 1975. We're going to start then with Another Day, which is Paul's debut single, released on the 19th of February 1971 on Apple Records, catalogue number R5889. So a fabulous debut single by Paul then, really great single. It's a really nice crisp Apple sleeve as well, this particular one I got here, really fantastic. So we're going to start off with the vinyl then, of course. Look at the vinyl, great condition as well. And this actually made number 2 on the UK charts, and it was recorded in New York City at Columbia Studios around October 1970 to January 1971, with Denny Sywell on the drums and Dave Spinoza as well on acoustic guitars, as well as Paul and Linda, of course. On the left there you've got the catalogue number with the Northern Songs NCB, and a credit for McLean Music on the left, with on the right there you've got manufactured in the UK and produced by Paul McCartney, and of course an EMI recording, MP 1971, with Another Day at the bottom there and Mr. and Mrs. McCartney, and Paul McCartney right at the bottom. So of course there then, Oh Woman Oh Why on the B side, same details as before there, the catalogue number on the left with the McLean details, and manufactured in the UK, produced by Paul McCartney, an EMI recording and P 1971. Of course at the bottom there, Oh Woman Oh Why, written by Paul McCartney. Fabulous single this one. So on to the second single I've got here then, which is Backseat of My Car, and this was released on the 13th of August 1971 on Apple Records, catalogue number R5914. So this one's a solid centre, this particular single. And this reached number 39 in the UK charts, which is pretty poor really considering. Once again you've got a fabulous Apple sleeve here. Really nice condition. Let's take a look at the disc then. And once again this was recorded in New York City around January 1971, with once again Denny Sywell on drums, Dave Spinoza and Hugh McCracken as well. So on that single there you've got the catalogue number top left with Northern Songs, the P 1971, and manufactured in the UK, with on the right hand side there produced by Paul and Linda McCartney, an EMI recording, with the Backseat of My Car there by Paul McCartney as a writing credit there, and of course the actual single is by Paul and Linda. So flipping that over then to Heart of the Country, another great song. Once again there you got the catalogue number top left with Northern Songs details, the P 1971 there on the left, and manufactured in the UK, with produced by Paul and Linda McCartney, an EMI recording on the right, with the song title there and the writing credits, and Paul and Linda McCartney right at the bottom. And this single is really getting a lot harder to find these days. It's a really difficult one to get. So on to a second pressing then of Backseat of My Car, released on the 13th of August 1971 on Apple Records, catalogue number R5914. And once again then, this is in absolutely superb condition. So it's the Dinked Centre version, this particular one. It's got all the same details as before. Really nice sleeve. And in really great condition. Got the catalogue number on the left there with Northern Songs, the P1971, and manufactured in the UK. With the produced by Paul and Linda McCartney there, and an EMI recording. With the Backseat of My Car there, by Paul McCartney, and by Paul and Linda McCartney. And flipping that over to Heart of the Country, same details as before there, with the catalogue number on the left, Northern Songs details with the P1971, manufactured in the UK, and produced by Paul and Linda McCartney, an EMI recording. With the song title there, and the writers, and Paul and Linda McCartney. Another great single. So on to 1972, and we start with Give Ireland Back to the Irish, which was Wings' first band single. It's released on the 25th of February 1972 on Apple Records, catalogue number R5936. So this song reached number 16, even though it was banned. You've got a fabulous looking yellow wing sleeve on this particular single. A little bit of writing on that particular top left there on this cover. Bit of a shame. But the single itself is in absolutely superb condition. And obviously it's a Dinked version. And this was actually recorded at Abbey Road Studios on the 1st of February 1972. With Denny Lane on guitar. And you've got Henry McCulloch as well on guitar. And Denny Sywell on drums with Paul and Linda as well. Quite a controversial single, this one. So you've got the Shamrocks across there. Really, really excellent label, this one. I really like this label. With all the other details there at the top. The catalogue number and the copyright details, etc. With the actual song title there. And written by McCartney and McCartney. And produced by the McCartneys. With Wings at the bottom. And flipping that over to the B-side, which is Give Ireland Back to the Irish. A version, which is just an instrumental version. But just as banned as the A-side. Once again there you got the title of the song there with McCartney and McCartney and produced by the McCartneys and Wings. It's in really great condition, this one. So on to another single then from 1972. This is MaryHad, A Little Lamb, released on the 12th of May 1972 on Apple Records, catalogue number R5949. So starting with the picture sleeve then. Always difficult to find a really nice one of this particular single picture sleeve. But this one's in pretty good condition. Got no splits. There's a catalogue number at the bottom there, but that's in pretty great condition. So onto the vinyl then. Of course we've got a special label there of Mary and Her Sheep there. This reached number 9 in the UK charts, which was pretty good for a nursery rhyme, I guess. You've got Wings at the top of the label there with, on the left, you've got the catalogue number, manufactured in the UK, and an Apple record and the P1972 with an EMI recording. With at the bottom there, MaryHad, A Little Lamb by McCartney and McCartney and produced by the McCartneys. Let's flip that over then. You've got the same lineup as the previous single with Denny Lane and Henry McCulloch and Denny Sywell, of course, on drums. Once again, they've got an alternate picture with Wings at the top. And of course, you've got the catalogue number there with manufactured in the UK, an Apple record, 1972, and an EMI recording. With Little Woman Love on this side by McCartney and McCartney and produced again by the McCartneys. This is in absolutely great condition. So the final single then of 1972, which is another band one, Hi Hi Hi, which was released on the 1st of December 1972 on Apple Records, catalogue number R5973. So reaching number 5 then in the UK charts. We've got another one of those yellow Wings outer bags then, in really great shape. And obviously you've got the same lineup. This was recorded in September 1972 at Abbey Road with Denny Lane, Henry McCulloch and Denny Sywell again on drums, as well as Paul and Linda. So we've got a red label this time with Wings at the top. And on the left there you've got the catalogue number, of course, and manufactured in the UK with an Apple record and the P1972. With Hi 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 there by Paul and Linda McCartney and produced by Paul McCartney. And flipping that over then to Sea Moon, great song. Once again, you've got Wings at the top there with the catalogue number, manufactured in the UK, an EMI recording and an Apple record there with P1972. Of course, you've got there Paul and Linda McCartney and produced by Paul McCartney. Really great single, this one of my favourites. So on to 1973, and probably Paul's best ballad, which is My Love, released on the 23rd of March 1973 on Apple Records, catalogue number R5985. So recorded at Abbey Road then in January 1973, reached number 10 on the UK charts, which I'm sure it could have done better than that. It's a really great song. But you've got the same lineup on this particular track, which is Denny Laine on bass, with Henry McCulloch on guitar and Denny Sywell on drums, with Richard Houston doing the orchestral arrangements. You've got a special Red Rose Speedway label on this particular single, with on the left there you've got the catalogue number and the 45 RPM, with on the right there an Apple record and the P1973, the Gramophone Company Limited, with an EMI recording. With at the bottom there, My Love, McCartney, and on this particular single we've got a variation there where it states McCartney's Wings. Quite a rare one that, so look out for that one. So flipping it over then to the B-side, which is The Mess. Once again there you've got the catalogue number on the left there with 45 RPM and a special Red Rose Speedway at the top, with an Apple record, 73, the Gramophone Company Limited, and an EMI recording on the right there, with The Mess, and once again McCartney's Wings. So on to my second copy then of My Love, which was released on the 23rd of March 1973 on Apple Records, catalogue number R5985. So we've got an Apple sleeve on this particular variant, and of course at the bottom it actually says Paul McCartney and Wings this time rather than McCartney's Wings. You've still got that Red Rose Speedway label at the top there, with this time you've got manufactured in the UK on the left there and the catalogue number. And on the right, you've got an Apple record and P1973, the Gramophone Company Limited, and an EMI recording, with My Love at the bottom there and Paul McCartney and Wings, of course. Once again, on the flip side, we've got The Mess. You got that special Red Rose Speedway logo there, with the catalogue number on the left there and manufactured in the UK, with on the right there an Apple record and P1973, the Gramophone Company Limited, and an EMI recording, with The Mess and Paul McCartney and Wings. Another one, it's absolutely in superb shape. So on to another great single then, and we've got Live and Let Die, which was released on the 1st of June 1973 on Apple Records, catalogue number R5987. So recorded then in October 1972 at Air Studios. It's produced by George Martin, and of course this reached number 9 on the UK charts. Got Denny Laine on bass on this track with Henry McCulloch on guitar and Denny Sywell on drums, also Ray Cooper playing the percussion, with George Martin doing all the orchestral arrangements. And on the left there you got the catalogue number with McCartney Music Limited, and of course the soundtrack details to Live and Let Die on the left as well, with on the right there produced by George Martin and 1973 Gramophone Company Limited there, with Live and Let Die at the bottom and Wings. Let's flip that over then to the B-side. Once again, you've got that catalogue number on the left with the McCartney Music Limited, and on the right there, produced by Paul McCartney, an EMI recording, and the P1973, the Gramophone Company Limited, with I Lie Around at the bottom by Wings. And this one's in really super condition, apart from the writing on the A-side. So the final single then of 1973 is Helen Wheels, which was released on the 26th of October 1973 on Apple Records, catalogue number R5993. So reaching number 12 then in the UK charts. We've got that lovely yellow wing sleeve here, once again in great condition. We'll take a look at the 45 then. Obviously 2 of the guys dropped out before they went to Lagos and recorded this in September 1973. So you've just got Denny Laine, Paul and Linda on these tracks. And this was the first fruits actually of the album. But obviously this didn't appear on the UK version, it just appeared on the American version, Helen Wheels. So you've got the catalogue number on the left there with the McCartney Music Limited. And then you've got the P1973 on the left hand side there, with manufactured in the UK. And on the right there we've got an EMI recording, and of course produced by Paul McCartney, with Helen Wheels at the bottom and Paul McCartney and Wings. So flipping that over then to the B-side, You've got the catalogue number on the left again with McCartney Music Limited and the P1973 EMI Records Limited and manufactured in the UK. With on the right there an EMI recording and produced by Paul McCartney. And we've got Country Dreamer here by Paul McCartney and Wings. And this is in absolutely superb condition. So on to 1974 then with Jet, which was released on the 15th of February 1974 on Apple Records R5996. So reaching number 7 then in the UK charts, we've got another Apple sleeve here in not too bad condition. Of course, by this point it was recorded actually entirely at Abbey Road in September 1973, with 2 new Wings members being Jimmy McCulloch on guitar and Jeff Britton on the drums, of course, as well as Denny Lane, Paul and Linda. Also you've got Howie Casey playing that fabulous sax solo, really fantastic. On the left there you've got the catalogue number there with McCartney Music Limited with the P1973 EMI Records Limited and produced by Paul McCartney on the right there with Jet and of course from the album Band on the Run, Paul McCartney and Wings. Another great track on the B-side. Got the catalogue number on the left there with McCartney Music Limited and the P1973 EMI Records Limited. Produced by Paul and of course the fabulous song Let Me Roll It. Once again from the album Band on the Run, Paul McCartney and Wings. So on to the next single then, which is Band on the Run, and it was released on the 28th of June 1974 on Apple Records, catalogue number R5997. So on to the single then. Got an Apple sleeve, which I don't think it's quite the correct one for this particular era, but it's still in great condition. And of course this was actually recorded at Lagos as well as Air Studios with Tony Visconti doing the orchestrations. So produced by Paul, this particular song obviously, and obviously the B-side. You've got the catalogue number on the left there with the McCartney Music Limited and the P1973 EMI Records Limited, with produced by Paul McCartney on the right. With Band on the Run there, and of course from the album Band on the Run, Paul McCartney and Wings. Absolutely classic McCartney. Only reaching number 3 though, it's a bit disappointing, should have been a number 1 I think. You've got the catalogue number on the left again there with the McCartney Music Limited and the P1974 on this particular track, EMI Records Limited. Of course we've got Zoo Gang, which was actually a television series in the UK, produced by Paul McCartney and of course Paul McCartney and Wings at the bottom. And this one's in absolutely superb condition. So on to the final single then from 1974, and this is Junior's Farm, which was released on the 25th of October 1974 on Apple Records, catalogue number R5999. It's only reaching number 16 then in the UK charts. I really like Junior's Farm actually, I think it's a really great song. This sleeve's in really great condition as well, got a £3 little ticket on the top right there, what I paid for it. But the sleeve's in great condition. It was recorded at Sound Shop Studios in Nashville in July 1974 with the lineup of Jimmy McCulloch as well as Jeff Britton, of course Denny, Paul and Linda as well. On the left there you got the catalogue number with the McCartney Music Limited and P1974 and are manufactured in the UK, but produced by Paul McCartney there, and EMI recording on the right, and of course Junior's Farm, Paul McCartney and Wings. And then flipping that over then to the B-side, which is Sally G. And on the left there we've got the catalogue number again with McCartney Music Limited, P1974, manufactured in the UK and produced by Paul McCartney and EMI recording on the right, with of course Sally G at the bottom and Paul McCartney and Wings. But correct me if I'm wrong, obviously Sally G was switched to the A-side, but I believe only on promo copies. I've never seen a stock copy with Sally G on the A-side. So on to 1975 then, and it's Listen to What the Man Said, released on the 16th of May 1975 on Capitol Records, although we got a Parlophone catalogue number which is R6006. So starting with the picture sleeve then, made number 6 in the UK charts. Of course we've got our change of drummer again with Joe English now in the Wings lineup. Listen to What the Man Said there with Wings. Of course you've got all the Venus and Mars planets all over the place there. The catalogue number top left, but this is in really, really great shape, this one. So onto the vinyl then. Of course we've got the Capitol logo at the top there, and on the right we've got the Venus and Mars planets, of course. But on the left there we've got the MPL details, and from the album Venus and Mars, with on the right there the catalogue number and produced by Paul McCartney. We've listened to what the man said, Wings and McCartney at the bottom. But it's in really great shape. It's recorded at Sea Saint Studios in New Orleans in 1975, about January to February 1975. We've also got Dave Mason on guitar on this particular track, and also Tom Scott on soprano sax. Really great song. On the second side then, of course, we got Lovin' Song with the Capitol logo again at the top there, with the McCartney Music Limited and the MPL logo, and from the album Venus and Mars, with the Venus and Mars planets to the right there and the catalogue number, and produced by Paul McCartney, with Lovin' Song there and Wings. This is in really great shape, nice single. So on to the second release then from Venus and Mars. We're on to Letting Go then, was released on the 5th of September 1975 on Capitol Records with a Parlophone catalogue number, which is R6008. So reaching only number 41 in the UK charts, which is pretty poor. You know, I really like Letting Go, it's a great song. And actually that particular song was recorded while Jeff Britton was still on drums. It was actually recorded in November 1974 at Abbey Road. So you got there on the left there, you got the McCartney Music Limited there with the MPL logo. And of course from the album Venus and Mars with that Capitol Dome logo at the top there. And the Venus and Mars logos to the right with the catalogue number, and produced by Paul McCartney. And Letting Go and Wings at the bottom there. And then flipping that over, of course you gave me the answer on this particular side. With left there you've got the McCartney Music Limited, the MPL logo, and from the album Venus and Mars, with a Capitol Dome at the top there. And you've got the Venus and Mars planets with the catalogue number on the right, and of course produced by Paul McCartney. You gave me the answer on Wings at the bottom there. Really great song, I like this one. So the final single I'm going to show then of this particular batch from 1971 to 1975 is Venus and Mars, which was released on the 28th of November 1975 on Capitol Records with a Parlophone number, which is R6010. Well, this single did not chart in the UK at all, so it's quite collectible. You don't see that many about. So, once again then, we've got the Capitol logo at the top, with the McCartney Music Limited on the left there with the MPL logo, and taken from the album Venus and Mars. With on the right there you got the planets with the catalogue number, manufactured in the UK and produced by Paul McCartney. So you've got an edited version of Venus and Mars and Rockshow on this particular side. And obviously this track was actually recorded at Sea Saint Studios in New Orleans, where most of the album was recorded in about February, March 1975. So flipping that over then to the B-side, which is Magneto and Titanium Man. Once again on the left there you've got the McCartney Music Limited with the MPL logo, and from the album Venus and Mars you've got the Capitol logo dome at the top there with the planets on the right, and of course the catalogue number, and of course you got produced by Paul McCartney and manufactured in the UK there with Magneto and Titanium Man and Wings. But this is in absolutely superb shape, really nice. So thank you all for joining me today, guys, and tuning in. And I really hope you've enjoyed seeing all those fantastic Paul McCartney 45s that I've got. And don't forget, as always, I appreciate any comments or communication that I get from any of you Beatles people. and I'll always endeavour to reply to you just as soon as I can. So the next video then will be the part 2 edition of the UK Beatles Magical Mystery Tour EP, where I'll be showing some really rare mispressing from the 1970s. So please make sure that you're here in 2 weeks, same Beatles time, same Beatles channel. So anyway guys, as always, if you enjoy what I'm doing, why not give us a like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. This is BeatleDave signing off. BeatleDave.